Kevin, I will get you to come up and just say a few words just regarding the next 48 hours. We talked about the hype. You've come out and you've said that it's important to keep the distractions away. Just what you're going to be doing with Joseph in the next 48 hours.
Good morning, and I'd like to welcome Joe's mother Sala here today, and I'd also like to welcome John and James from Burger King. Our mate Carlos Takam beside me, I'd like to welcome him into New Zealand and his team for coming all this way from France down under. I'm not going to answer Stan's question first. I've got a few things to say, as you guys know me. This is a really important fight. This is a fight that we've spent the last 3 years preparing for. Everybody's watched Joe develop, mature, both in his skill set and his physical shape. They've watched him mature as a man, and every fighter, when he works his way up the heavyweight rankings or whichever weight it is, wants to test themselves against the best fighters in that division. In us fighting Carlos Takam, we're fighting one of the very elite fighters in the heavyweight division. I consider Carlos the bogeyman of heavyweight boxing. He's the guy that other elite heavyweights just simply don't ask to fight. We look at Deontay Wilder, the WBC heavyweight champion. The 3 defences he made, 2 of them against fighters Eric Molina and Johan Duhaupas, who Dean Lonergan tried to bring to New Zealand to fight Joe. He never once called the name Carlos Takam out. Anthony Joshua, who's been on a very similar path to Joe, developing little steps by steps, challenges, tests, never once did his camp or his team ever once mention the name Carlos Takam. So we believe that we have taken on a fighter that no one else wants to fight. And the only time that Carlos ever finds himself in this position is when he politically gets himself into a mandatory shot. So we have enormous respect for him. In saying that, every time over the past 3 years that we've given Joe a challenge or a test, he's always lifted his game. Joe's a big match fighter. He's risen to the level of the competition that we've put him in front of. This is not a little step. This is a real step for us. In fact, it's 2 or 3 steps up, but I believe that Joe needs a fight like this. I think that the style of Carlos Takam, his physicalness, his aggressive fighting, his stamina, the way he comes forward, I think all those things will test Joe like he's never tested before. But I also believe it'll bring the very best of Joseph Parker out. Now to answer Stan's question. The next couple of days we're going to hit the gym this afternoon and probably do 7 or 8 rounds. You know, it's very important when you're tapering off just for the body to keep turning over. You can't just stop and say, okay, I'm fighting in 3 or 4 days. You know, so Joe will be in the gym, he'll be shadow sparring, be hitting the pads, be staying nice and loose and relaxed. We're keeping everything the same as we've kept things for the last 18 fights. You know, we've got a very good system, it's worked very well for us. And so there's no need for us to change anything. You know, as you heard Joe say, every night he goes home and spends time with his mum and dad, sister and brother. You know, those things are very important. Joe's a family guy. He feels comfortable with his family. We get the training done during the day. He gets his rest and recovery. And we are positioned and we're ready for the fight of our life on Saturday night.
All right, so thank you very much for your attendance. And once again, I just remind you, joescorner.co.nz for Burger King. If you want to put your name, or if you know someone who wants to put their name on the corner post, it would be fantastic. You've still got an opportunity. Thousands and thousands of people have already done it. And $2 Whoppers, thanks to Burger King again, guaranteed on Sunday between 11 and 4.